Hello there, welcome to a new day and welcome to a new edition of AM Prime on WESN Content's Capital. I'm Keaton Shaw. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. Keaton Shaw, by the way, not Keaton Singh. Some may have gotten confused yesterday, but nevertheless, thank you so much for joining me on the program. It's always a pleasure. As we get into the conversations this morning, my first actually, we're focusing on a topic of which I've explored quite a bit within recent times, and that is in regard to digital economy and digital transformation. Now, the reason why we're focusing on this a lot is the digital age that we're speaking about. The entire world, as we continue to learn about artificial intelligence, for example. Here in TNT, we're speaking a lot more about digital banking and how some people are actually not familiar with digital banking or not comfortable with digital banking. But that's just one aspect of many in relation to a digital society and a digital economy. But let's expand a bit more with the expertise this morning, as I'm joined by consultant, TCS Consultancy actually, Mr. Shivam Tilak Singh. He's with us via Zoom. Hello, sir. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good morning. Thank you again for this opportunity to be here this morning.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for making the time to join us this morning. Digital society. In terms of Trinidad and Tobago's progression, how would you describe or assess our move towards full digital transformation, which, according to the Minister of Finance, remains a key priority?
So before we even move on to that, in a sense, we need to understand what digital transformation is. And essentially, you can put it down to a basic understanding of when a business or even an organization like the government utilizes new technologies to make things better, right? So if you make processes faster and so forth. And they have been doing that, but they haven't been starting with more of the foundational standing in which we do training, in which we optimize our websites, because a lot of these government websites have a lot of issues right now. And it's just plain and simple in that aspect. Now, they have actually started the D-Hub initiative, which, is very promising for a lot of developers. But at the end of the day, if the population doesn't understand how to utilize these services, then there's a big problem there. Mm-hmm. Don't you agree?
Certainly. But that's something that you mentioned, which definitely is a key factor if you speak about generally technology and the population's interest in technology. Some of the interest doesn't go beyond just utilizing your cell phone or various apps on your cell phone. And that's obviously very shallow. But beyond that, if I was to take the example that you just used and the government focusing on digital transformation, a lot of business is actually now conducted via websites or web portals. But they tend to give a lot of trouble. Now, we can't rush digital transformation, yet why is there so much trouble? What accounts for that?
Exactly, and that's the low-hanging fruits, because optimizing a website is not that hard to do, and it's not that hard to throw some resources there. It wouldn't take that long. So I'm not really understanding why they haven't, sought out to do this. I mean, a big red flag right now is the Gate portal. The Gate portals are unsecured websites. It has so many issues. Payments don't go through, So I don't know why they don't, extend some resources there before you go to level 2, level 3, in terms of transformation.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's speak about that actually. What are the key priorities, especially when building these portals that businesses will access or even doing business with the government? What are some of the key factors that government need to focus on?
As simple as adding an SSL certificate. So, when you visit a website, you wouldn't get any pop-up whatsoever. You just go to the website. You would look on the upper left-hand side. You would see a lock telling you that the website is secure. Some of these websites, when you go on them, they don't have that. They give you a pop-up. Your browser would give you a pop-up and say that the website is not secured. An SSL certificate is free of charge. When you're building a website, you get that automatically free of charge. That's the whole point that I was trying to make there. That why they're not, extending that like 2-3 minutes. It wouldn't even take to put this up, just to have that security up in place. So it's kind of confusing to me at a whole, and I usually send sessions to MDT, to iGov, to persons within the community of tech, just to get that across the board. But again, you have to go up the higher ups in that regard, and that is where the mess happens, miscommunication, etc., etc.
But just for clarification, exactly what does an unsecured website mean?
Oh, so if a website is unsecured in that regard, what could happen? It's very prone to getting hacked, right? So very easily, I could go on a particular website, I could find out the IP address, I could log into the site, I could try and brute force into the sites, I could create a lot of mischief and mayhem. Or I could even duplicate that website and say that, it have job postings or whatever, throw it on social media, throw it here, throw it there, because it'll be very prone to getting hacked, doing phishing attacks, etc., etc. And that's not good for the population because remember, these websites are the front line for any local or international entity or person that wants to visit Trinidad or wants to find out some information. So them getting this first access to Trinidad and Tobago through this website, it is like red flags to them.
So all in all, as much as we're actually appealing to people, we need to do our part in terms of digital transformation and a digital society. As much as we're encouraging the use of such resources, we're simply not getting it right just as yet. Is this probably what also accounts for the sense of being uncomfortable in utilizing these platforms?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who I would say they don't really understand the platforms. I mean, if you ask somebody average on the street if they could use like these online platforms, etc., they would usually tell you no, or they will usually ask you what you're talking about. Because a lot of Trinidad and Tobago, while you think they are connected to the internet 24/7, a lot of them aren't. There are places in Trinidad and Tobago that doesn't even have proper internet service. When I say proper internet service, I mean they still use those, those blink boxes from long ago, those black big blink boxes that runs at 5 megs. Yeah, they still use that. They have no access to any stabilized internet. And I mean, it's great that Starlink came, but those, the prices and the packaging are very expensive for persons to even purchase it because it's like almost $4,500 you're going to be paying in total just to get set up. So that's where, it has a lot of smaller ISPs willing to, lend their hand, but they're not going to get the license from that. They're not going to get this. They're not going to get that. There's a lot of running around just to try and help someone. Because at the end of the day, the population needs to be educated and needs to have the proper access to these services.
Well, in terms of focusing about areas not having a stable internet access or reliable internet access, how much of this also needs to be focused on in regards to communication companies, telecommunication companies? We have quite a number of them in Trinidad now. People probably only know about 3 or 4, but there are quite a few. How many of them actually need to expand their horizons or be given the license or the resources to expand?
There's a few I know of. I don't want to call names for personal reasons, but there's a good few that I know of who are willing to do this. They have some of them actually give free internet to schools, apart from TT Wi-Fi. They actually give free internet to religious organizations, to churches, temples, mosques, etc., etc. And they are ready and willing to do that. But again, it has certain processes you have to go through when you're going to apply for a national license compared to a niche license, etc., etc. So it also, that's basically what happens there. And now these bigger entities like Digicel, Amplia, etc., coming down to these areas and not trying to take away the customers, but they're trying to run lines to make it more accessible to persons. Competition is always good. Getting cheaper internet is always good. But at the end of the day, why you don't use what it has there already? Why you're granting licenses, in that regard.
So a progressive leap into the digital age, is that an inaccurate statement when we're speaking about Trinidad and Tobago, in the context of Trinidad and Tobago?
I don't want to just disown them and say no. I'm going to say yes and no. I'm going to be like Schrodinger's cat, 50-50 in that regard. Because they're trying. It's not like they're not trying. It's not like they're not trying. That's the thing. It's not like they're not trying. They are trying. They're trying to do the laptops. They're trying to do everything. But in the same way, let's use the laptops, for example, what they're giving the kids in Ministry of Education. These laptops are quote-unquote laptops at the end of the day, but they do not meet the required specifications for a laptop in 2023, even for a student to use. 4 gigs of RAM, very flimsy, not so fast processor in that regard. I mean, in 2023, you need at least 8 gigs of RAM, at least an i3 or Ryzen 3 processor, at least an NVMe SSD, at least, just to have a system that properly functions, because software is upgrading. Zoom call that we're on right now, Zoom is actually upgrading the recommended amount of RAM and processor that you need to actually run Zoom. And that happened during COVID. And during COVID, what happened is that a lot of kids were getting locked out of class. So you would have noticed a lot of kids complaining that, the Zoom call ended, Google Classroom's crashing, this crashing, and it's due to the laptops, unfortunately.
Well, that's most interesting because the government will make the argument, listen, we've got the hardware. Now, as cheap and as flimsy as it may be, they're going to make the argument, We actually have the hardware. We're providing such resources. But what you're speaking about as well is the software, which actually allows the physical, computer to operate and to work. And you're suggesting this morning that the software that is being provided is not necessarily the most efficient or effective when we're speaking about what it is being utilized for in this modern era.
Exactly. And that is how it was. I mean, a few years ago, yes, you could have run Zoom on like a low-end laptop. But now if you're going to do that on a low-end laptop, you're going to find a lot of lags. You're going to find a lot of issues happening. You're going to find that the software is not optimized for that particular type of laptop due to the inefficient amount of RAM that's available there and processing power as well.
So I'm just making a shift, a big shift for a moment there. We've also focused a lot on fintech, right? That was something that was also raised. But so many red flags. As you said, you're not writing it off completely. It's 50-50. But if there's so many red flags, I mean, how secure would our fintech platforms be?
Was that how secure the platforms would be?
Yeah.
That's what they have to, go about it the right way and actually put in these digital systems properly. I think they have GovPay and it's powered by Atlantic, I think. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it carries you to a secure website to actually do your payment. So let's say you have a website and you do e-commerce, right? You wouldn't utilize your own type of software to do that e-commerce transaction. You would use something like Stripe. Now, when you utilize Stripe, Stripe would carry you away from that website, even if it's an unsecured website, to a secured website to do that transaction. While, that's their fail-safe in that regard. So that's what I'm hoping to do, and that's what I'm hoping, goes on right now.
But also in terms of, with the knowledge that you have, in terms of Tobago's cybersecurity infrastructure, have we also made progress or are we lagging there as well? Because you mentioned earlier on the SSL certificate. So I'm just wondering, even in regards to cybersecurity, whether or not we're even up to par with that.
We're getting hacked right through. Like Trinidad and Tobago and the Greater Caribbean is becoming a breeding ground and a playground for hackers throughout. So you're going to notice a lot more hacks happening, a lot more phishing attacks on social media. You will see NESC's Facebook page got taken down. Well, not taken down, but got hacked. And the only way you can really hack Facebook is through a phishing attack. So that's when someone sends you, a kind of sketchy link. That link could potentially just redirect you to a fake Facebook login and bam, they get your information. So we're not doing enough on our front to really push that cybersecurity initiatives. We're supposed to do something like MDT does post those little graphics and stuff telling you how to be safe online. But again, the information is there, but people don't access the information. You have to put it and keep putting it out there. So you have to do some wide campaign or something just to educate people about this, because there's a lot of older folks, even younger folks, who don't know about this.
Mm-hmm. Now, in regards to the $500,000 tax allowance for cybersecurity investment for companies, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it will be good because it will allow a lot more local companies to get involved into it. But the process about getting through with that, that tax exemption is questionable, at least, because you need to know how this documentation is going to go. Because all he said was, that 500,000 for the tax on cybersecurity, but again, I don't know the required documents. I don't know what the company needs to have. It has to be a LLC. If it has to have what type of cybersecurity they're going to be doing. If it helps with training as well too, because there's a lot of persons out here who have cybersecurity certificates, but they don't have any training, and they need that training to move forward.
So are you suggesting that there's a shortage of technical workers, skilled workers in the industry?
I think there's a shortage. There are a lot of persons coming out with their qualifications, but in terms of experience, there's a shortage of experienced persons. And the ones that are experienced, they actually get taken up and go to the US, go to London, etc., etc. So, because what they get in Trinidad is kind of like the bottom line in terms of salary, in terms of wages, in terms of that, benefits. And a lot of these companies are going. Like, I know someone personally that got snatched up by Microsoft. No, for now. He was rejected by a job in Trinidad, but Microsoft was like, yeah, I'm taking you. Come to us. Visa and everything.
You've actually had me, my jaws dropped there for a moment, because what does that suggest for our human capital and our investment in terms of human capital for a digital society?
Oh, that's what I want to see. That I want to see more initiative. I want to see more internships. I want to see persons be given the opportunity to own their own tech business, their own startups. That's what these banks are supposed to be doing. That's what Netco is supposed to be doing. That's what the government is supposed to be doing. We need more startups in Trinidad. Trinidad could be a tech mecca of the Caribbean, but again, I don't know.
So in terms of, as you're saying, and as we're concluding this morning, Mr. Tiluxing, and thank you very much. I've really enjoyed this conversation because you've opened up a lot, not just for me, but I'm certain for many of the viewers. In that sense, being a tech hub for Trinidad, is that also an area which we would also allow for probably economic gains as well if TNT can get things right?
Yes, we can. There's so much money to be made in app development, like what they're doing with the hub. So hopefully that takes off in that regard. But there's so much money to be made with website development, app development, AI, right? It has a local company that used ChatGPT's API to create their own chatbot. You can believe that. A local company, local entity, local people doing this. And again, they tried to launch it, they couldn't launch it. Pressure in that regard. So there's so much money we could be making. And not only in tech, we could do fintech, we could do agriculture. There's so much things in agri-tech we could do. Renewable energy and solar. We're a small island here in the Caribbean, man. There's so much things we do with renewable energy.
I think we're going to have to pause in the conversation because we didn't even touch on AI this morning. We didn't even get the opportunity to touch on AI. But actually, this is a very good introductory conversation, Mr. Tiluxing. And again, I thank you very much. So there is going to actually be a follow-up or follow-ups. You know, we'll certainly keep in contact for that. But thank you very much, sir, for your time this morning. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity and have a good day. TNT.
You too, sir. Have a good day. All the best. That was Mr. Shivam Tiluxing this morning as we were speaking about digital transformation and a digital society. You heard it there, even in terms of the securities associated with the webs, the platforms that are available for Tobago to do business with the government, or even that in itself. Even human capital, shortage of skilled workers, but why am I acting as though I'm surprised? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break here on AM Prime, and when we return, well, I'll tell you what, we'll get into some good news. We'll get into some lighter news, and one that we can all be proud of. We'll be right back after this.
The newest book is here, Closer to the Church, the debut novel by author and former mayor Louis Lee Singh. Available at all the home store branches, Barataria, West Mall, Shogunas and C3 San Fernando. Paper-based bookshop 10 Nook Avenue St. Anne's, WESN 30A Gattaca Street Woodbrook, Metropolitan Bookshop Ariapita Avenue Woodbrook, and all RIK bookstores nationwide. Available online as paperback on Amazon.com and Kindle for e-readers. For more info, call 628-5835 or 389-6504. Also available from author Louis Lee Singh, I Used to Live in Heaven, Letters to My Granddaughters, and Local Government in Trinidad, Conspiracy Against the People. FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Alan's Funeral Home, Tunapuna. Relax. We know the loss of a loved one can be challenging, but we've got your back for all your funeral needs, from documents to the service and or burial. Let Alan's Funeral Home take care of you and your loved ones. We are located on the Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna. Call us today at 663-1829 or visit allansfuneralhome.com. Alan's Funeral Home. Let us take care of business.
I am Rondell Donowa, attorney at law and host of Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Strictly Legal is a legal program geared towards informing you, the public, of your legal rights, responsibilities, and remedies. So be viewing Thursdays 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokaram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up, Doc? Every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
My name is Carl Media, and I'm the founder and the host of Ever Increasing Voice Ministries. Join me every Saturday and Sunday on WESN, this powerful station, at 9 a.m. on Saturdays, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. nightly. Also on Sundays, I'll be on at 7 a.m., 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. at night time. When you come here, we are getting people heavenly ready.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios. But they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
From Maracas Bay to Arafita Avenue and Piaco, Richard's Bake and Shark brings the world's most popular fish sandwich closer to you. Open daily at all our locations.
Let the home store turn your house into a home you love. Get everything you need to give your home that special look and feel. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. 5 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at Westmall, Pennywise Plaza Shoguanas, C3 Center Branch and C3 San Fernando. Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
You gave us the inspiration to be first. We gave you the solutions that put you first. You walked with us side by side, and we continued to serve you with pride. First Citizens celebrates with you 30 years of achieving dreams, shaping success stories, and painting brighter futures together. And together, we'll accomplish so much more. First Citizens, together, 30 and beyond.
Are you ready?
We're ready. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. Fridays just got more important. On Friday, October 13th, Trinidad and Tobago's national football team battles Guatemala in a crucial Nations League encounter from 9 p.m. at the Hazley Crawford Stadium. A victory for the Soca Warriors will guarantee us a place in the quarterfinals with a host of possibilities, including the prestigious Copa Football and a World Cup seeding. Calling one and all to the National Stadium on Friday, October 13th. Let us fill it with noise and let the support reverberate. Tickets cost $100 covered, $50 uncovered. Tickets are on sale now at eboxtickets.com and at the venue from 12 p.m. on match day. Show your true colors. Be a fan. Be the ultimate Soca Warrior.
We're ready for the road.
Only as national citizens, but also as global citizens, we're very pleased when we hear such good news, because on October 2nd, 2023, of course, a team of 8 students from St. Joseph Convent, Porto, Spain, and the UNESCO Club coordinator, Mrs. Alicia Stevens, they traveled to Buenos Aires in Argentina as the only school, actually, and that's key, as the only school to represent Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean at the 21st International Model UNESCO. Well, it's a simulation of UNESCO's General Conference, and guess what? Well, we're lucky to have Miss Alicia Stevens with us, as well as 2 of the students who participated, Shine Dwarka and Alexandra Bailey. And they're alongside me in studio. Yeah. Hey guys, good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Good to see. Oh, you see, that was a nice. Wasn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Good morning, guys. Thanks for joining me this morning. Ms. Stevens, welcome, and thank you. Let's start off in regards to UNESCO clubs. We have a fair understanding of the organization UNESCO itself, but UNESCO clubs in schools. If you can just tell us what that is exactly, and what is the aims, what do they do?
Sure. Okay, so UNESCO Club, well, first of all, UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, Cultural Organization. UNESCO clubs began in 1947. It actually started first in Japan, and of course then spread throughout the world. And the whole concept behind it is the Second World War was now done, and basically countries got together to foster a climate of peace because they never wanted another world war to happen, of course. The quotation that UNESCO stands on is, since wars begin in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that defenses of peace must be constructed. And I think that is such a valuable line for today's world. So UNESCO clubs actually started in Trinidad and Tobago in 1991. And it was initiated by the then Secretary General for the National Commission of UNESCO, and that was Ms. Sandra Gift. We have approximately 45 active clubs in Trinidad and Tobago right now, and it is basically very simple to set up. You must have a teacher coordinator, of course, and the club leader, the teacher coordinator, puts into the hands of the students of the school the whole responsibility for running the activities of the club. Of course, he or she would lead those students. You have at the student level a president, 2 vice presidents, a secretary, a treasurer, and a public relations officer. And of course, the students and the teacher coordinator, we plan an agenda for every term.
Oh, okay.
We keep in line, we observe UN days. So your club activities can center on anything that is educational, scientific, cultural, etc. And you can also observe some UNDs as well.
That is absolutely incredible, and it's all student-centric, all student-focused.
Yes, student-centered.
So it should have been my very first thing that I said, but now I have the opportunity to speak to Shine and Alexandra. Congratulations!
Thank you!
Congratulations! So let's start with Shine, and then we'll go to Alexandra. How was Argentina? What was that experience like?
It was honestly an amazing experience. It was my second time as I went with the group in 2019. So in 2019, I was a delegate, and this time my teacher asked me to go as the ambassador for one of the teams. So, well, I'll start with Argentina itself. It was very cold. When we landed, that breeze, it was just freezing. I think it was about 14 degrees. But in the conference itself, we were warm because it was indoors. And, you know, honestly, it was an amazing experience. And I really would encourage schools to start up UNESCO clubs if they don't have, and send up teams, because it really does help you with public speaking and meeting new people. And a lot of these students, they ask for our Instagrams, and so, you know, it gave us a little bit more followers, as well as, you know, we can keep in touch with them now. So, and I still talk to my translator from 2019, and she even came to meet me at the school. So it's a great experience to make new friends and build new connections.
Well, that's incredible, because you're starting your networking, you know, for the rest of your life to come from now. So that's incredible. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? How was Argentina?
For me, it was absolutely incredible. From the country itself, I love the architecture, I love the atmosphere, the little shops, everything was so amazing. And when it came to the conference, I think initially we were nervous, we were a little scared, but by the second day, it was like clockwork. We were just working, and we were working together, and I feel like the school was so welcoming of us that it made the experience 1,000 times better.
So let's speak about the actual simulation of the conference. How does this work?
Right, so it's a simulation of the General Conference of UNESCO. So you have schools being assigned countries. So our teams were assigned the countries of Egypt and France. So you register early in the year, and you are given the topics for debate. So these young ladies were working since January on these topics. It's a lot of research you have to conduct. And there were approximately 6 topics.
Yes.
And they fall under science, social science, culture, and education. So you have to do your thorough research on the particular country you have been assigned, because you must answer those questions based on the resources, of course, of the nation that you're representing.
And what were the 2 nations that you guys were?
Egypt and France.
Egypt and France?
Yes.
So, and I'm assuming that Egypt, France?
France, Egypt.
France, Egypt. But let's speak about that in terms of the research as well, because not only do you have to do research in terms of understanding the country, you also have to put yourself in a position to argue on behalf of the country and the country's interests. So beyond just doing research, how did, you know, from the beginning of the year till a couple of weeks ago, how did you train your mind to be a citizen of Egypt and France? Let's start with Egypt.
Oh, Egypt.
Egypt, sorry. Forgive me.
No problem. Well, for me personally, when I was doing the research, of course, Egypt might have some limited information, but I placed myself in not the position of a citizen who's facing these issues, but as a citizen who wanted to fix these issues. And because I did that, I was able to argue based on my human rights, what I want to see, you know, the changes that I want to see in the country itself. So that made it 1,000 times easier. Like, yes, I researched the problems, but now I see the problems and find the solutions to it.
Well, for me personally, I was the ambassador, so I did not do the initial research. The delegates, they do the initial research, and then they send their research to me in the form of a working paper as well as a speech. So my role was to correct the speeches, to make sure it was grammatically correct, they had proper spelling, etc. So whilst I was editing those speeches, I, like Alexandria, put myself in that same position, and I ensured that, you know, they were speaking proper information and everything they were saying was correct, because, you know, for me, you have to really put yourself in that position, and you're no longer Trinidad and Tobago. So we're not allowed to use any language like France or Egypt. We have to refer to the country as we, or we the government, because you are the government of that country for that period of your research as well as during the conference.
That's quite a lot of responsibility you had there as well. Yeah, that's quite a bit of... But ladies, students, Miss, how does this opportunity actually give students or young people a platform to actually throw their voice out there and say, listen, we are the future, we matter, and we have ideas. This is where we want to see the world going.
Right, so the resolutions that are created within the conference by all these young people from around the world, they are actually then forwarded to the Ministry of Education in Argentina, as well as to the UNESCO head office in Paris. And they are actually read out and advertised, for want of a better word, at the General Conference of UNESCO. So these young people are not just doing this in isolation and it's just paperwork. These resolutions are actually, you know, made public knowledge at a higher level. So imagine that, you from Trinidad and Tobago, a little student there, And yet still your idea that you created has gone worldwide.
Certainly.
At the General Conference.
And in that sense as well, let's get this correct. Egypt, France. France,
Yes.
Egypt, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll start with France this time. Youth engagement, especially in a world that's becoming more and more globalized, a world where everybody now is becoming more connected. Why is youth engagement so important?
I think that youth engagement is so important because I think that young people need to have a voice, especially in this generation, because I feel like many times young people are often sheltered, and as you said, globalization is taking over the world, so social media is just overpowering everyone. So I feel like when people have these opportunities like this conference where you can actually speak and discuss your views and opinions on other countries and other issues, you can, have the right to actually, vocalize yourself, And so I think it's very important for people to engage in these type of conferences.
But also in terms of youth engagement, and I like how you said engage in these conferences, because in terms of the engagements and all the other students from around the world, at any time did it become heated, where you all had heated debates?
Yes, yeah, of course. So the way that it would have gone is that we would say our speech, and then each country who had a question, if you would put up their placard with their country's name, and the president of the UNESCO conference would have been so country, say your question. People would have objected to your questions, they would have objected to your laws. And of course it would have been heated, but of course we knew that it was all for the better good, because we were all passing the same laws with the same project to come to a resolution.
So was there a general consensus at all amongst the young people that all came together?
Yes.
There were general.
Yes, at the end they must create resolutions.
Right, so let's focus on those topics for a bit, because you said that I think there were 5 or 6 areas of topics.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And what were those topics?
So Cheyenne will inform me of those.
We had social science. So the first topic was promote inclusion and fight against discrimination, hate speech, and stereotypes. And the second topic was improve standards and policies related to freedom of expression, freedom of the press, and the right of access to information online and offline. And then we had culture and education, which was the first topic, harnessing technologies and digital innovations to achieve an effective and relevant inclusive learning. And the second topic was strengthen the capacities of states to improve the preparation, mitigation, and response to emergency situations that affect culture, especially in the event of armed conflict and environmental disasters. And finally, we had Science Commission, which was strengthen access policies to scientific and technological advances and exchange of knowledge applied to the health and well-being of the population, and then promote science and apply it to the sustainable management of natural resources, the conservation and restoration of ecosystems, the preservation of biodiversity, and the resilience to the risk of disaster. So,
I felt as though I was sitting in the General Assembly.
These topics were basically, we had to do the research on these topics, and you had to discover what your country is doing for these topics, and then put forward solutions. And then the solutions that you put forward is what Miss mentioned, that would go to the Ministry of Education in Argentina, and then to the head, and then it will be disseminated to the country.
Well, that's some very, very strenuous research you guys would have had to do there.
And the good thing, Keaton, is that the teachers are not allowed to really help them too much. So I was very happy about that. The girls must do the research themselves. At the conference itself, teachers are not allowed to interact with the students. So the students learn to be responsible. They must, of course, as Lexi said, yes, sometimes the debates got heated, but of course you are always told an environment of respect, tolerance. This is what you're there to learn. You're there to learn to build team working skills, to get along with people from various countries. And so that, to me, was so beneficial to my girls. I carry girls who are timid and shy sometimes, and after a week, I am so proud of them to see them on that podium expressing their views and opinions in a confident manner.
So it actually, and that's the thing, you realize that you're teaching them just beyond daily classroom activities.
Yes, because education is never just limited to a classroom. Never can be.
So I'm going to ask you a bit of a tricky question. And I'm not speaking specifically you as a teacher, but as coordinator of the club. Why do you do what you do?
Because I think I just love being around young people. I try to remember what my school experience was like. And I try to say, okay, let me identify with even if it's one person within an entire class, and try to make the school experience the best one that that child can have. Because you never know the family background of a child. You never know the issues that child may have, whether it's financially, emotionally, mentally, whatever. And I think our role as educators is just to, as I said, even if it's one child, have a positive impact on that child's life. That child might be coming to school hungry, having a bad day, and you might be the only source of hope for that child. So yes, education, of course, academics are important. I would not dispute that. But at the end of the day, you still have to have fun with children. You still have to show them that learning can be fun and creative.
You guys are very fortunate to have a teacher in Ms. Stevens.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But before we bid farewell, and by the way, I can't stress, and I don't think I've done justice, just how incredible this is. Because not only are they the only school from Trinidad and Tobago to be represented at the actual conference, they're the only school from the Caribbean. And that is a remarkable achievement indeed. They've represented TNT and the Caribbean and, well, France and Egypt. So that is most incredible. Now, as we conclude, we can't go into every single resolution, but what was probably the most outstanding to both of you guys? It can be the same, but what was the most outstanding resolution from the conference?
Well, for my country, I would say for my commission, I can't speak for all the other commissions, but I was social science for Egypt. And one of the resolutions that really stuck with me was to implement changes in students' textbooks in Egypt, actually, where women and men are depicted in different roles that may cause the issues being faced to be more prominent in the country. So women were depicted as weaker, men were depicted as stronger. So we did say that we wanted to change how women were depicted in the textbooks, change the gender roles so as to start from the bottom and work our way up, because this is the future generation of Egypt. So that really stuck with me from my commission.
That is rather incredible. I like how you're still speaking on behalf of Egypt. France.
For me, I would, since Alexandria took social science, I would talk about culture and education. One of the topics, as I mentioned, was talking about poorer areas, in times of environmental disasters. And one of the resolutions that were passed was basically talking about helping out students who struggle with lack of electricity access and those type of things. And actually one of the countries that were represented was Trinidad and Tobago. So one of the solutions that they put forward was improving in areas like Toko and Manzanilla, where children, are not as fortunate and they may not have proper internet access. They were talking about implementing solutions which can help them, to have better access in times like those, so that every child can have an equal opportunity to be educated. So for me, that was one resolution that really stuck with me, and that resolution went for majority of the countries represented, because in many of the countries there are, like anything, rich and poorer areas. So for me, that is a resolution that stuck with me.
That is most incredible. Well, ladies, thank you very much. Ms. Stevens, thank you. Really, and not just for coming here this morning, but for what you do for the students at the school as well, and for what you've done at the club, and to all you guys encouraging more young people to get involved and to have more UNESCO clubs.
I would really like to encourage educators within the schools of Trinidad and Tobago, please, form a UNESCO club. It is not difficult. We're actually having the coordinators meeting for North next week, Thursday, at the Ministry of Education, and for South schools at St. Joseph's Convent, San Fernando, next week, Friday. Okay. So anyone who wishes to form a UNESCO club can contact the Ministry of Education.
I think we need to get
Debbie Garcia is the coordinator there, and looking forward to getting new schools on board with us.
Well, thank you so much. And to you young ladies, congratulations once more. To you and the rest of the team. I know we couldn't have everybody here this morning, but please extend congratulations to them. And I look at all you guys and I think to myself, there's a lot of hope for the future. The future really is bright. So continue doing what you guys do. Incredible.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, let's have a quick break here on AM Prime, shall we? And when return, we'll continue the good news this morning. It's Friday. Yes, not Friday. Friday. We'll be right back after this.
Here's the WESN News on the Hour. I am Sira Ali. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Hazardous seas advisory extended. Sections of Solomon Huchoy Highway extension to open. Tourism Trinidad CEO and San Fernando Mayor explore collaborative initiatives to promote island's beauty. Now for the details. The yellow level hazardous sea advisory from the Met Office, which was issued on Monday and was due to end on Thursday, has been extended until Saturday. The primary areas still affected by this alert include the northern, eastern, and western coastal regions of Trinidad. The northern coastal areas of Trinidad will continue to experience long-period swells accompanied by occasional battering waves. The northern and northeastern exposed coastal areas of Tobago, along with the northeastern and western coastal areas of Trinidad, are expected to face the same conditions. Occasional battering waves are expected, particularly during high tides. Marinas, beachgoers, and coastal communities are strongly advised to closely monitor sea conditions, especially during high tides, and exercise caution. Portions of the Solomon Huchoy Highway Extension project connecting San Fernando and Point Fortin will be open to the public on Saturday. A news release from National Infrastructure Development Company Limited and the Ministry of Works and Transport yesterday announced that portions of the roadway between Mondesi and Labrie, as well as between Vance River and Down Loop Roundabout, would be open to vehicular traffic on October 14th. These openings are meant to improve vehicular flow between San Fernando and Point Fortin, the release added. During the past week, Carla Cupid, the CEO of Tourism Trinidad, engaged in a productive meeting with San Fernando's Mayor Robert Paris and the San Fernando City Corporation. The discussions revolved around the pursuit of deeper partnerships aimed at strengthening the promotion of Trinidad's natural beauty to a global audience. Carla Cupid emphasized the commitment to ongoing efforts to market the nation, making it an inviting destination for visitors to experience the allure of this magnificent island. The meeting represents a step towards enhancing cooperation to further boost Trinidad's presence on the global tourism map. That's news to the hour on WESN. I'm Sira Ali. Thanks for watching.
Since they were on sale, Laura bought these umbrella shoes without thinking. Literally, without thinking. Hungry for deals? You'd better come and satisfy it at KFC before doing something crazy. Wow Bucket, 7 pieces of chicken and 4 regular sides for $115. A finger-licking good deal.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
You gave us the inspiration to be first. We gave you the solutions that put you first. You walked with us side by side, and we continued to serve you with pride. First Citizens celebrates with you 30 years of achieving dreams, shaping success stories, and painting brighter futures together. And together, we'll accomplish so much more. First Citizens, together, 30 and beyond.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother, We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Are you ready?
We're ready. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready.
Fridays just got more important. On Friday, October 13th, Trinidad and Tobago's national football team battles Guatemala in a crucial Nations League encounter from 9 p.m. at the Hazley Crawford Stadium. A victory for the Soca Warriors will guarantee us a place in the quarterfinals with a host of possibilities, including the prestigious Copa Football and a World Cup seeding. Calling one and all to the National Stadium on Friday, October 13th. Let us fill it with noise and let the support reverberate. Tickets cost $100 covered, $50 uncovered. Tickets are on sale now at eboxtickets.com and at the venue from 12 p.m. on match day. Show your true colors. Be a fan. Be the ultimate Soca Warrior.
We're ready for the road.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back to AM Prime, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us this morning. We've had a really good conversation thus far, and I'm pleased that we're going to continue that. We're going to continue on that trend with some great news. We are speaking this morning to a gentleman who I'd like to say is a creative. He's an absolute creative. He's a wonder, a magician in many ways, and I'd like to say my good friend, my very good friend and a colleague. He's the director of the film I Dream of Calypso, and the story is about a 10-year-old Hazel Alman. She has a dream during the night that she's going to sing Calypso alone in her room, and she researches how to write a Calypso and contemplates entering a national competition. Now, she must find the courage to tell her busy parents, who are pastors, and convince them to sign the competition's consent form with its looming deadline. This proves to be a challenge as the family prepares for Easter Sunday service amidst the bustle of dressing and hustle of going to church. Hazel must find a way to fulfill her dream. And that is the thing. This film focuses a lot of challenging traditions in order to achieve your dreams. I'm pleased to welcome creative director, many more accolades, Mr. Joash Alexander. Hello, sir. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning, and good morning to all your viewers.
Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on the film. Joash, speaking about the film itself and going through the process of creating this film and the vision for the film, please speak us through that process.
Well, usually when you hear the term film, most people think it's just about setting up a camera and recording and putting something together. But a lot of planning goes into creating these films. I think that most of the time, the planning phase can be twice or 3 times as long as compared to actually shooting the film, right? From there, there's a lot of practice, there's a lot of scripting, there's a lot of confirmation on both sides, there's a lot of networking and ensuring that every single thing is signed, sealed, your I's dotted, your T's crossed, because when you start a film, you must have a clear vision of everything that must be done. Every single person on board must understand their role, so no one can come on set and not know what they're supposed to do. So it's a lot of planning.
No, but in that sense as well, you mentioned the word vision. The vision behind this film in particular, reading the synopsis already has your mind going so many directions. And we have the trailer of which we would play towards the end of the interview. But, you know, generally alone, what was the vision or the thought behind this film? And the barriers that you really wanted to challenge, you and the rest of the team, of course.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because this film was personal to me, Keaton, because when I was young, I love our culture. I'm a Trinbagonian, so I love our culture. I love the soca, I love the calypso, I love the way we express ourselves. But the problem is when you have people who are part of a certain denomination, or if you have a belief system, you believe that this culture cannot be part of your belief system. So, for example, if you don't mind me saying, I will try to speak as plain but as cordial as possible.
Please do.
I grew up in a Christian home, and most of the times calypso and soca is seen as not Christian. It's seen as non-Christian. So most of the times you find that people who are Christians, they are not part, or they are forbidden to be part of that culture. But my thing is, why are we not allowed to express ourselves in the culture that we are born in? Not only that, there is a while back, how many years back, calypso and soca and stuff was only seen as the men do it. It was more a male-dominated thing. Now, women coming into it, right? I personally don't see any problem with that, Keaton. Because if you're a Trinbagonian and you have a song to sing, or you have a message that you want to give, right? It should not be bound to only one gender. It should be male, a man. If a man wants to sing soca, if a woman wants to sing soca, if they want to sing calypso, feel free to do it. But then there's another thing as well. Why not use the culture that you're in to give a positive message? And that was the question that I had in mind. You know, what is the problem in using calypso in this instance? What is the problem in using calypso to deliver a positive message? And that was what to me, that was the question I asked, and that was the answer in the film.
You know, you focused on so many themes, very many themes, but based off of your response, obviously the more prominent ones are the themes of religion and society, of course, the themes of tradition and household traditions, the themes of Caribbean identity, of course, and the themes of culture, you know, but you've also focused on gender as well, because the script is a 10-year-old girl, Hazel Alman, and you're speaking about growing up in Trinbago and Trinbago society, even how it's personal to you. But, you know, focusing on that taboo, as someone would say, in regards to religion versus culture versus gender, you as a director and the rest of the team, in what ways did you challenge it in terms of the film itself? Not just the storyline, but even directing the film, even editing the film, even trying to come together to find this is what we want to do and this is how we're going to do it. Because bear in mind, the cast and team members as well. It's not just you.
Correct. And most people always focus on the director because the director is the one who gets the big name and stuff like that. But a huge part of it came from the writer, that is Solange Plaza. She penned the script, and I think it was from the first time I read that, Keaton, I was blown away. I was blown away because it felt like this was part of a message that needed to go out, right? It was part of a message that needed to go out. And not only that, you had to ensure now that people understand where you're coming from. So in order to do that now, you have to get the right people on track. So the cast, Kayla Allen, a young girl, right? Michelle Sylvester, she played Kayla's mom. We had Sean Daniel, who broke barriers in the Calypso tent. A young Christian man coming with a positive message in a Calypso tent, right? So they understood the entirety of the script. And then with producer Victoria Gore-Vota on board, made magic, made magic. I want to also mention that WESN had a major part. They understood the vision and they had a major part to play because they came on as one of the executive producers, and they were delighted to have us on board. They worked with us every step of the way. They gave us advice. They gave us, they came on set. They helped. They guided us through everything. Even in the editing, post-production process, they helped us with all of that. And they themselves said that if it is you are giving this message out, you have to ensure that every single thing falls in line, because you want the viewer to not just enjoy the movie, but to leave with a message.
Do you think that is something that is easy to achieve? Because many times people will go and watch a film, and it can be any film. It could be the most comical of films. There's always some message. For example, Walt Disney said, if it's anything that you can learn from my films at all, it's that music makes a difference in almost. He says you can put music to a 1-minute film, you put for 5 seconds, it makes the film. But in terms of the film I Dream of Calypso itself, do you think it was easy actually reaching out and actually appealing to the viewership for them to recognize and interpret that message?
Now that is another excellent question, because the first time the film premiered, everybody was wondering where's the rest of it, because they found it was too short. So people were asking, you all should finish this film. There's so much you all could do about it. But later on, when they started doing little interviews for those who saw the film and getting their feedback, they said that it's a very important message in the sense that we must embrace our culture. We cannot forget where we came from. Most of the times we attach ourselves to to what we hear online and what it is we listen to or what we view on TV, and because of that, most of the times you find that people not really attaching themselves to the culture. But I think that based on the feedback that we got, Keaton, that they understood the message. Even Kayla said that, because of what she did, playing this role, she herself sings calypso. She herself sings, and she's an artist and what have you, upcoming and what have you. And it encouraged her to continue. Her friends were inspired, right? even Michelle Sylvester, she's an artist, and she brings that positive message as well. And she's encouraged as well. Sean Daniel said that these are the things that we need to keep doing. The young people that we had on set working behind the scenes and stuff, they and all actually said that it was an amazing film. It was a great idea, a great concept, and we need to do more of this to get the message across.
Do you think cultural identity is still a major issue in Trinidad and Tobago society?
I believe that. I believe that. A major, major issue, because the way when you look at how we are, at how we live, right? When you look at what we align ourselves to, our cultural identity only comes out when Trinidad wins football, when West Indies wins cricket, when there's carnival, when there's Diwali. But it's not a year-round thing. When those things are gone, we attach ourselves back to a foreign identity. Mm-hmm. Some of us find ourselves, encouraging our children to adopt that identity. And most of the times you find that, because of, I would dare say, religious barriers, we don't align ourselves to the identity that we have here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard people say that, our cultural background is one that is filled with a lot of spiritual African origins and Indian origins and stuff like that. However, I see ourselves as Trinbagonian, and we are a mix of all these things, and we have created our own identity. Mm-hmm. But I would say we should not be ashamed of it.
Not be ashamed of it.
Not be ashamed.
And I think that's important, because some people, at times they get so depressed that they mix or confuse such a depressed view as aggression or even being ashamed of who we are. But before we get into the other parts of it, I just wanted to quickly ask you, in terms of your opinion as a director, in terms of the film industry here in Trinidad and Tobago, how do short films such as I Dream of Calypso impact upon the local industry, which in recent times is beginning to climb, is beginning to rise? You're seeing a new TNT film industry. There's been more focus on it. It's been spoken about so much. How are films like this and like these actually are important in the industry?
I think they are extremely, extremely crucially important, because it gives young budding filmmakers an opportunity to tell a story. It gives young budding actors and actresses a platform to express themselves. It also, for the most part, gives everyone an opportunity to learn and to network. And I would say in this industry, networking is extremely important. When you align yourselves with people who are knowledgeable about the industry and knowledgeable, who have experience, the process is not only easier, but you will find yourself being able to transition from not knowing anything to now working from a short film set, to working music videos, to working major film sets. All right? I will give credit to ICNTT, because they are the ones who more or less spearheading this entire project, right? Because I Dream of Calypso actually came into fruition when Solange presented her script for a grant, right? It was a competition, and she came second place, and with that grant, that is how we were able to create the short film. Not only that, ICNTT also encourages these young filmmakers to put the film out, to carry it out, to broadcast it, to encourage people to come and see it and what have you, right? Like I Dream of Calypso, it was an official selection for the Caribbean Tales Film Festival, and ICNTT ensured that as part of the prize from the competition, right? The other thing about it is that our culture, we have so many stories we could tell, Keaton. We can tell so many stories, ranging from comedy to drama to folklore, right? We have so many stories we could tell. And these short films, working on these short films, provide the exact proper opportunity for these young filmmakers to come and tell their stories.
So, you had quite an astounding cast. You have Michelle Sylvester, Sean Daniel. You even had cameos by Heather McIntosh and Karen Ashe.
Yeah.
That was rather incredible.
Yeah.
And I can imagine working with them was quite a great experience. But Kayla Allen, and this is the most, as you said, you're focused so much on young talent. Kayla Allen is rising here in TNT.
Correct.
Young Instagram star, but now a film star. What about working with Kayla, getting her to portray exactly what it is you guys wanted to see coming out from somebody filling the role of Hazel?
Well, first we needed someone who can sing, because the name of the film, I Dream of Calypso. So we needed someone who can sing. Not only that, we needed someone who had a passion for, I would say, entertainment, right? And we happened to meet Kayla, and I remember the first time we sat down and we spoke with her. It was via a Zoom interview. We discussed the role and what have you. Her parents were there because we wanted her parents to be present in everything. And when she read the script, she was excited. She was nervous at the same time, but she also asked a lot of questions. But the general part of it was that she was pretty much sold out on fulfilling this role. Now, to get her to adopt and embody Hazel, that was where the practice and understanding the character came in. And we had Danielle. She's an acting coach and what have you. And she came on board and she was able to work with Kayla. I mean, Keaton, I can tell you something. Every time there was practice, she sat down with Kayla. Even the minor details, fix this, do this, say it like this. Sat down and give her and paint an entire picture of how Hazel is. And Kayla just took that and ran with that. And that was like seeing her on set, seeing her, carry the role and her expression and everything. I was amazed that a young person was so invested in the character that they were portraying. I was stunned. I was very much stunned, because one of the things is working with young actors and actresses, you don't know what is their attention span. But she proved me entirely wrong.
No, that's rather incredible, because it's also not been just about a short film that has had so many themes that are very much relevant to today.
Yeah.
But it's also made its way to the global stage, because it's been an official selection at Caribbean Tales.
Correct.
And RTFF Film Festival in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's won the award for the best film for children.
Yes, best film made for kids.
Made for kids.
Made for kids.
But I would argue this is just more than just for kids.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of it does not only appeal to kids, but it's also trying to break the mindset of the older.
Correct. You said the exact thing, breaking that mindset and getting them to understand that if you are in this culture, you can give a positive message in your culture, using your cultural background.
Yeah.
You don't have to adopt another culture or don't let that other culture be your main way of portraying a message.
And not only that, these awards, these accolades or laurels, as for you and the team, what does it represent? Does it represent my hard work has finally paid off, or I know that my message appeals to all everywhere around the world?
That is actually the correct answer. The message appeals to all. Most of the times, it's not, yes, the look of the film and the way how it's done has a part to play. However, if you have a good message with your film, if it is your film can inspire and impact someone, to me, that is one of the major accomplishments.
What do you think are the successful components towards inspiration?
I would say, first off, knowledge. You need to be aware, you need to understand. I will also say experience, because you know, how can you inspire if you have not been through the fire, right? I should copyright that. Right? I would say those two things. There may be more things, but I would say those two things for me, you know, what sum up inspiration.
But this is just beyond the Caribbean Tales and RTFF Film Festival.
Yes. So I want to officially state here that I Dream of Calypso is now an official selection at the 1216 Grenada Film Festival.
That is incredible, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a major milestone again.
Congratulations to you and the team for what you're doing. So that be the case. What is the next step for Joash Alexander, for Solange Plaza, for Victoria? What were the next steps?
So we have combined our names together because this is not the first film we have worked on. The first film we worked on was via Script to Screen program with that was headed by Lisa Wickham. We did that film was called The Good Mother. That was the first time three of us more or less collaborated on a project. And it was well praised. But now, I think for now, well, what we are doing, we're still promoting I Dream of Calypso because I know it has a long way to go still. That's one. And I'm also pleased to announce that in the future, we will be collaborating with WESN again in the future to work on some more projects. So you can look out for us. I don't want to say in the near future or the far future, you can look out for us.
Oh, wonderful. So in the future, you could look out for Josh on this platform again. Josh Alexander, yes, I've interviewed you this morning. We've had quite an expansive and extensive conversation. And I really like to have young people on the platform. So trying to go realize and recognize this is what the future holds and this is the future talent. But I would say congratulations.
Thank you.
From the point of view as a host. Mm-hmm. But as a friend, as a colleague, brother, I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man.
I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. And I'm happy for you. And I'm happy for all that you're doing. And the rest of the team, of course. I mean, what a great cast. An excellent cast. Mm-hmm. And then the team of Solange and Victoria need to come together and conceptualize this. The script writing, the creativity, everything was
producing everything.
It was really good.
Perfect.
Excellent, my friend. So looking forward to more conversations.
Definitely, and thanks for having me this morning.
Thank you. So as we end, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you a great day ahead, a grand day. Happy Friday, of course, and a wonderful weekend. May it be a good one, may it be a safe one. Get some R&R, and you know, I'll see you again on Monday morning. But we end more so with the trailer for I Dream of Calypso.
In Jewish history since the end.
WESN